Doghouse podcast is back. Brand new guest from the College Huddle. Got Jake from AgKnocks. How we doing today, buddy?
Doing great, Trey. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Excited to have Texas A&M representative from the College Huddle. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, share the Doghouse podcast. We have grown a lot this year. So I'll say Texas A&M, Aggies, we rarely play each other, so I wouldn't really say a rivalry or anything. I think the last time we played, I think it was 2020, and we still haven't went to College Station.
Yeah, crazy.
And you guys have been, was it 2012, 2013? I forget when it came to the SEC.
I think it's 2012, yeah.
Yeah, so that's crazy. Hopefully we'll get on the schedule one of these days.
I know. We kind of ducked you hopefully for most of the dynasty, but you guys are looking pretty good still.
Yeah, man, but you guys are trending up. Mike Elko's got you guys rolling. Playoff appearance. Wanted to jump into that. So big-time matchup. Miami, Hurricanes, first time they've made the college football playoff, and also Texas A&M as well. Big-time matchup. I believe it's 3.5-point spread. I'm sure it's changed a little bit. Also, first off, wanted to ask, what do you guys think about playing at 12 o'clock? Would you guys maybe want it more of a night game, or does it really matter?
Well,
the game can be boring sometimes.
No, yeah, we always want Kyle Field at night. That's kind of one of the most raucous environments in college football. So the 11 a.m. was a little bit of a disappointment. There's like a justification made after the fact. There's NFL games on Saturday, so ESPN wanted the prime time spot to be 11. So we're just rolling with it. I think Kyle Field's still going to be pretty electric. But yeah, not ideal for your first playoff game, but we'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. First, I wanted to looking at it. How are you guys healthy? I know Marcel Reed kind of dodged a bad injury in the Texas game, and I know you guys had a couple of weeks to heal up. How's everybody looking on the injury front?
Yeah, so I mean, as of right now, it seems like we are all systems go. It sounded like Mario Craver had been banged up for the last 6 or 7 weeks. He's saying he's 100%. We're getting a couple guys back that should be really important pieces. Le'Veon Moss has been out since the Florida game. When he's playing, he's one of the best running backs in the country and makes a really big difference for our offense, especially in short yardage situations. So it seems like he's trending towards coming back, which would be a huge boost to this offense situationally and otherwise. But across the board, it seems like everybody's ready to go.
It's always good to hear. And I believe I was reading a little bit on Miami. It looks like they're pretty healthy as well. Looking at the matchups, what are some of the maybe things you're worried about going against Miami, and then some of their like disadvantages from what you're seeing? I did see that they're a top 10 in I think all the major categories. I think number 7 against the rush, top 10 total defense. I knew they had strong defense. Didn't realize that against the numbers.
So I mean it's interesting, right? It's a lot of A&M fans have a bad taste in their mouth because our last 2 actually competitive games have been South Carolina and Texas, where essentially for 2 halves we looked like one of the worst teams in the SEC. So it doesn't feel great right now. We're looking to hopefully jump out ahead of this team early and get that confidence back that we've been playing with all year, because it feels like we're one of those teams where when we're hot, we can play with anybody in the country, but when we're not, anyone can beat us. So that's kind of where we're at. I think it all starts with Mike Elko's team, making sure you contain those long, big breaking runs. We can't have them ripping off 50, 60 yard runs, especially early in the game. And I think another thing, Cassius Howell, our best pass rusher, kind of got bottled up against Texas in that game. Didn't really get to arch much. If he can get to Carson Beck, I think that's going to be a huge swing in this game. Just get Beck a little bit rattled and welcome him back to the SEC.
Yeah, that's another thing. Who do you think has the overall matchup? I know you might be partial. So Marcel Reed versus Carson Beck, very similar numbers. Marcel Reed being more mobile. Who do you think has the edge on that?
Yeah, very different quarterbacks. I mean, I'm hoping in this game at home, Marcel Reed bounces back from a pretty shoddy Texas performance. I think his ankle had somewhat of an effect in that second half. But, you know, he's kind of a streaky player. He's very up and down. Sometimes he gets happy feet. Sometimes he pats the ball a little bit too much. He can kind of lose some accuracy there. But when he's playing at his best, he looks like a Heisman caliber quarterback. So, Beck's been great this year. I think he's had a really solid season. After for y'all, he didn't look like he was really worth the, I don't know if I could say the word on this podcast or not, but
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, no, I mean, Beck looked like shit for you guys. And then for Miami, he was like, okay, he could be a Heisman candidate. He's really spreading the ball around, looking comfortable, running the offense the way it should be. But at the end of the day, I think that Marcel's got all the tools to have the edge here.
Yeah. Definitely, being a Georgia fan, Carson Beck, I didn't wish any ill will or anything, but he did throw a lot of picks at the very end. And I feel like, culture-wise, we're better now with Gunnar Stockton, I'll say that. So, he's doing well in Miami, and I'm sure he'll get drafted, and his future looks bright. But, yeah.
We want to see Georgia back. Yeah, that's the plan. Like, we want him throwing picks. We want him rattled. Like, that's what we want.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, in all usually the big games, he'll have at least one or two. I mean, he'll try to force it in there. They do have a salty defense. I think this is going to be, defensive battle, and it might come down to, who can, run the ball better and also the turnover margin. I think that's going to be important.
Absolutely.
And then Mike Elko, I know he had a big-time extension recently. Are you guys happy with him? I know you guys making the playoffs, but you think he's your long-term guy?
Yeah, I think most Aggies are ecstatic. We're a little trying to think of the right word. I think the way that people felt about Jimbo is what's keeping people from really becoming vulnerable with Mike Elko and how they feel about him. But it's a completely different situation with the culture, the way that things are moving. And some of the things Mike Elko has done this year to defeat the battered Aggie syndrome, we talk about this all the time, pretty much on a weekly basis. There's a checklist of things this season that had not been done in Aggie football history that are that just kind of have indicated that things are changing, starting with the Notre Dame game, the way it went, the way it ended, the fact that we went on the road and won a game in a big spot like that. It just felt like the ball was bouncing our way a lot of times this year, and we were winning games that we wouldn't have won in past regimes. So I know everyone's very happy with Elko, the way he's recruited, the way he interacts with the media, and just the general vibe around the program.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a good fit there in College Station for sure. He's doing great things, getting the contracts. You got him locked in, and that helps out on recruiting. So, how about three things? What must these three things happen for Texas A&M to win this game?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, we can't give up these chunk runs. We can't give up the big play. That's going to be really important. Make sure you contain that. You got to pressure Carson Beck. You got to get him into situations where he's kind of flailing. He's throwing balls up for grabs, and he's seeing ghosts out there. Right. As far as the offense goes, I think as long as Marcel looks comfortable and can distribute the ball to his playmakers, especially if we get that boost bringing Le'Veon Moss back. I mean, that guy, he's kind of like an automatic 4 yards to carry type of player. So having him really does change the dynamic of this offense. So I think those are the three major things, at least from our point of view.
Yeah, definitely could see that. And then what's your score prediction for the game if you had to pick?
Man, I hadn't even really thought about that. I've been sticking with this all year. I'm going to keep sticking with it. I'm going to say that the Aggies kind of surprise people because I know people think this is going to be a close game. I think they think that Miami's going to come in here and kind of bully us a little bit based on how our last two games went. But I think these Aggies are going to come out fresh and tough and ready for revenge. Let's go 38-23 Aggies.
All right, big time cover. I hear you. A couple scores. That'd be good. Yeah, I think you guys are going to come off. I'll make my pick. I think you guys are going to come out a little salty after the Texas game. You're going to be resilient. Everybody, I think it always motivates the team coming off a loss. I think Miami's going to go in there and they're going to have good defense. It's going to be a defensive game, but I think Carson Beck, a late turnover, potentially a pick. But I like you guys getting a late rushing touchdown, 28-24, something like that, and cover. But I think it's going to be close. I don't know, noon game. Hopefully you guys are ready for the tailgate, which I'm sure are excited.
Oh, we're planning it right now. We're getting out there early.
Good deal. Is that one of the bigger stadiums? Is it 100,000? Is it top 10 stadium?
I think it's got to be top 5 or something like that. I think Michigan might be the only one that's bigger. I might be wrong about that though.
think Penn State's pretty big too, I think.
Yeah.
Some of the Big Ten schools, yeah.
It's like 108,000 or something.
Good deal.
Yeah.
How about on the do you follow any of the coaching carousel, all the craziness? Anyway, I know all the stuff, off field stuff happened with Sharon Moore. Everybody kind of beat that was crazy last week. So any idea maybe who Michigan? I know they were looking at Caleb DeBoer, but it looks like he says he's going to stay at Alabama. So any idea who Michigan should get? I know they're kind of putting a mess there.
We had a fun conversation about Sharon Moore last week. That was great. What a crazy occurrence with all of that. But I mean, I think so. The more I've thought about this, and it sucks for Michigan because it's so late in the season of finding a coach. They're kind of in a worse position. I think you just run it with Biff Poggi next year, and you just punt on the season. Maybe he turns out to be great, and it's a Coach O situation. But at the end of the day, there's no reason to go get someone from the bottom of the barrel and sign him to a 2-3 year deal and then kind of be locked into that. I think you just got to eat it next year.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. I think they did listen to Josh Payton, some of the analysts kind of close to it, them saying that they kind of knew about this several weeks before and they were reaching out to agents. Mm-hmm. And they did save the recruiting class, which I did think is kind of shady, even though they knew they're probably going to can Sharon Moore. That's a whole other topic. But yeah, I think they're kind of sitting back and there's maybe a playoff coach they're reaching out to. Might be a big time assistant, but I think they maybe kind of had a guy. And then also it's interesting to look if they did somehow would have beat Ohio State again and made the playoffs. I think they would have maybe brushed this under the rug. This just seems like their motive.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And I let's not put this past them. Let's say Michigan goes after Steve Sarkisian and snatches him up. That was something. There are rumors. Desmond Howard was the guy pushing those rumors that Steve Sarkisian was on his way out. So maybe he goes to Michigan.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah,
I would have loved if Kalen DeBoer would have told Alabama kick rocks. I would have left him, but anyway.
And then Lane Kiffin goes to Alabama.
Yeah, I think that's going to be his destination. He's going to always be looking over there at the shiny Roll Tide toy over there.
We heard he was trying to come over to College Station, and when we were looking at Elko too. That was the rumor. So,
would you have liked that, or you didn't want the drama?
Well, apparently they said no. Well, I mean, I guess looking at it now, he would have left us for sure. You can't. That's like people that hire Lane Kiffin are like people that are cheating on their significant other and then expect that second relationship to last. Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, sure. It'd be great. And then real quick, looking at the other games, I think the other one's probably going to be some blowouts. But anyway, who do you like in that Oklahoma versus Alabama rematch?
That's a tough one. I think everyone is – so the spread was like Alabama -3 or something like that, right? Or Alabama -1.5 you got there. Yeah. I think that line is a little bit of a bait line. That's making me feel like Alabama's going to come out with something to prove. And it's hard to beat a team twice, especially in Alabama. So sure. I think Alabama could take it in a close one.
I could definitely see that. And I think, excuse me, they're coming off, 28-7 beat down. Got to throw that in there against Georgia when they put the exercise the demons on them.
Yep.
But Oklahoma at home, night game on a Friday night. My other big question is how healthy is Alabama, because they're pretty banged up. Even if they get some guys back, hardly they couldn't run the ball. I doubt they'll be able to run the ball with Jam Miller. He's banged up. Couldn't run against Georgia. -3.
Crazy.
So Ty Simpson supposedly banged up, they're saying. So I just kind of want to know the health of the football team. And Oklahoma is rested, but I think that'll be a dogfight. It'll be within a score game.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Simpson has not looked the same since the middle of the season. He looked like he was going to run away with the Heisman, the #1 pick, and all that. There's something definitely off there.
Yeah, for sure. But they still got Ryan Williams and Bernard. They still got some talented guys, and they're coming in off of a couple of weeks, so might get some guys back. We'll never know, but that'll be definitely interesting. And I believe that other one will probably be a blowout. Is that I believe it's Oregon and James Madison.
Yeah, I mean, we're always going to hope that one of those G5 teams comes through, and at some point they're going to. At some point, it's going to happen. So you never know. But I will say that we were not too happy with the committee that they left Ole Miss in front of us after Lane left, and we have to play Miami, and Ole Miss is having to play Tulane. It feels like a little bit of a disparity there.
Yeah, I agree. And then I'm definitely expecting Ole Miss, even though they don't have a coach, to roll on Tulane. Never know, it could be a little closer. And then did you agree with the whole Notre Dame saga? Did you agree with them being left out, or what was your thoughts on that?
Yes and no. I agree with the thinking by the committee. I think that not leading up to it. There are obviously a lot of mistakes. Notre Dame has a justifiable gripe with the fact that they were ranked ahead of Miami the week before. I think that was just a mistake by the committee. They should have flipped them from the get-go because it doesn't make sense the way that they lined it up. But the Alabama factor, them playing the SEC championship, I've always been a proponent of that game should not harm you. It should only help you, no matter what it looks like. And it sets a terrible precedent if Alabama was to drop to a lower spot there. So it's tough. It's always going to be tough for those last few spots. I think Notre Dame was a good enough team, but they lost 2 games when it mattered the most. And it sucks to think that if you're a team like Notre Dame and you lose 2 games early in the season, the rest of the season doesn't matter, but they also aren't in a conference and they also don't schedule a lot of difficult teams. So it's on them.
Yeah. I can definitely see why they let Notre Dame out. You had the head-to-head, which I think should have some, merit, and then not being in a conference, that's a whole other thing. I think this hopefully will maybe push them to get over in a conference there. And all the other sports, I know they're got the big time Peacock, NBC deal. They want to be independent, whatever. I just think that you got to join a conference. Maybe that'll push them against them. And I think this is going to be a reoccurring thing each year if they're sitting there 1 or 2 losses. And I think their schedule next year is like a cupcake schedule. So you got to schedule more big time matchups if you're Notre Dame.
Yeah, and it's what are you going to do? I mean, they're going to be undefeated next year, and they're going to be screaming from the hilltops, and they'll probably be a top 4 team no matter what. It's a flawed system, and I think we've been in the Wild West long enough with NIL and with feeling out the playoff bracket. We've got to have answers. We've got to have clarity, because even just from our perspective, when they turned on that ESPN show and they were talking about the main criteria that is being considered when we look at how we rank the teams, especially at large, one of the criteria listed was if a coach leaves or if a player leaves or if there's an injury, that's taken into consideration. But Ole Miss stays at 6. Texas Tech 11-1 in the Big 12 versus 2 teams in the SEC that were 11-1. What gives them the merit? I know that they blew all these teams out, and they won the Big 12, but the Big 12 versus the SEC, I mean, it's not the same league. And everybody, the national media, everyone that wants to push the Big 10, Fox, they all want to say that the SEC is not as good as it is, but it's as close as we can get to an NFL week-to-week situation. You look at a team like Arkansas, they're competitive in the Big 12. They probably win 6 or 7 conference games in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's frustrating. It's all over the place. It feels very biased.
Yeah, I agree. And then also I did have that Georgia, Alabama stayed at 9, Georgia stayed at 3. I thought at least would have moved up to 2nd, but I do like where our bracket is, so I'm kind of happy with that. But we just glad we put the whooping on Alabama. That's just what was sweet. So just get over that hump.
Your quarterfinal game is in New Orleans. Is that right?
Sugar Bowl. Yeah, we played there last year. Notre Dame beat us last year.
What's the next round? Where's it supposed to be for the semifinal? Do you know?
I think it's Fiesta.
Okay, so we're gonna see you guys in Glendale then.
Could be. You guys got to get past the Buckeyes though. I think that's who you would get if you win.
Yeah. We're gonna play them in Dallas, so hopefully that'll give us a little bit of boost. See, my take is I feel like if we can beat Miami, we're gonna be rolling at the right time. And I think that's going to be it'll set up well for us. I mean, Ohio State's no joke, obviously, but you never know.
Yeah, I think Texas beat them. I mean, they beat Texas by 7, and then they played Indiana, which they are a solid team. Got to give it to them. Lost by 3. So when they step up in competition, or they might get hot and just be a buzzsaw like that they were last year. It just kind of depends. I think they're happy they got over the Michigan, getting that Michigan win. Really, Ryan Day, he excelled on that one for sure.
Oh yeah, he needed that one.
He did. Yeah, and they were going to look at last year was the SEC schedule release. Going to look at Georgia's here. SEC didn't leave Georgia any favors. Look at them first couple of games, a little bit of a cream pie there, a cupcake, whatever you call it. So Texas State.
It will be a cream pie.
There it is. Then Western Kentucky, and then you got at Arkansas. Haven't played there since 2020. It's always challenging going on the road. Oklahoma game will be very interesting at home. They're a good team. Vanderbilt, no Diego Pavia, and they're losing 49. I think 49% of their team seniors. They might be in rebuild mode. Also for us, Mr. Jared Curtis, who just decommitted. Might have a little receipt for you on that one coming in Athens. Hope that's a night game. Kirby Smart doesn't forget. We might be coming after you with no talent. So
how do you feel about that?
I mean, first off, I think it's great. It'd be first off, we're not going to whine. We would definitely want him as a Georgia fan. It's a blow, but he wanted to play right away. He decommitted twice. This was a long thing. He originally was at Georgia, then he came back. I think he wanted to go to Ohio State. We beat him out again over Oregon. Then he kind of came back at the end. But, I mean, kid wants to play right away, which is fine. I'm sure they gave a pretty good NIL deal. Plus the coach, Clark Lee, just re-signed his contract, so that's there. He didn't want to sit behind Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton is coming back. I can get it. My only knock against him is he's playing against lesser Class A ball. This kind of reminds me of similar Arch Manning. He's going to have a lot of hype around him. Kid looks good on film, but you're not having hardly any talent. They're in rebuild mode unless they just get a ton of guys in the portal. 49% of your team, you're losing 4 out of 5 on your offensive line. I mean, he might be running around for his life.
Sure.
But, I mean, that's his decision. We got other guys that we have. Plus, maybe we can put that $2 million towards another transfer portal guy, edge rusher, wide receiver. So, I mean, I hope that's for him. Dylan Rowley just did that. He's in the portal in Nebraska. That didn't work out. So, hey, you might see him again down the road. You never know where the world is. So, yeah, we'll see. And then at Alabama, which definitely be tough, always giving us problems. Auburn with a new coach. Not sure what to think about them. And Florida and Mercedes-Benz will be really interesting. They got a new coach. At Ole Miss with a new coach. That's always a tough place to play. They put the whooping on us last year, 28-10. Missouri, that could be a tough game. And then at South Carolina, we haven't played there in a couple of years. Willie B, always a tough place to play. Could be cold, night game. And Georgia Tech at home, which, man, I was reading up on them. They're in full-out rebuild mode. OC just left. I think their quarterback's about to transfer over. I follow Rec Talk, who's a big YouTube guy. He's like, man, they're just getting gigged in the portal, and their coaching staff's revamped. So I don't know what that team's going to look like either. So we'll see. But another tough schedule, but we're going to have a lot of guys back. We'll see. I'm hoping we'll be that, 10-2, 11-1, make playoffs, being realistic.
Yeah. Must be nice to end with your rival where they're out of the conference and basically irrelevant versus us. We have to play Texas the last week of the season. Every time it's for the SEC championship berth, so much on the line. It's miserable.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, real quick, who would you say is your most hated rival? Would that be Texas, or who is that if you had to pick?
Yeah, it's Texas. I mean, I was going to try to make a joke about them, but
horns down, baby.
Oh, horns down, fuck them all day. So that's
here it is.
They're the bane of our existence. They try to act like we're not rivals with them, and they pull that whole Big Brother thing, and it's just they're nauseating. They're the worst fan base in the SEC. I'm sure you guys have kind of picked up on that. And I can't wait till we finally kick the shit out of them. Thought it was gonna happen this year.
Yeah, we do like beating them 3 straight times, so they're
Yeah, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit of a nemesis for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Yeah, looks like looking at LSU. Any you guys go to Bama and South Carolina and Oklahoma. No favors there. So you guys got a tough schedule too.
Yeah, our schedule is insane. I think the last 3 games are, it's like Tennessee, Oklahoma, and then Texas.
Yeah, I think I pulled it up right here real quick since we're talking about it. I always like looking at those schedules. There it is.
Yep, there it is. Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
That's last 4. I mean, this is a tough place to play. Tennessee, man, you had Bama. Yeah, last 5. That's pretty tough, to be honest.
I will say this year we were also looking at the schedule at the same time, saying that we had an insane gauntlet, and then by the end of the season, everyone's saying that we had the worst SEC schedule of all time and that we didn't play anybody. So you never know how it'll go.
Yeah, that Arizona State, that's interesting too. A little long trip. Well, not really that far of a trip for them, but yeah. You got at LSU too with Lane Kiffin, Lane Train.
Yeah, back
at Missouri, they're always tough. You got some tough away games.
Yeah, we played back-to-back years at Death Valley, at Missouri, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you coming on. And how do we follow you guys, AgKnocks, on social media and the internet?
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at AgKnocks. We're on YouTube as well. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, I like that with all the clowns right there. That's funny.
Yeah. We try to kind of not take ourselves too seriously, and we like to mess with some of the other fan bases like Texas pretty frequently. But yeah, you can follow us on everything: Instagram, TikTok, all the stuff.
Yeah, man, check them out on there. They're definitely growing on YouTube. Got a bunch of followers there on Twitter. Yeah, man, check them out.
Yep.
Yeah, man, appreciate you coming on, and good luck on Saturday, Texas A&M against Miami.
Thank you very much. We'll see you guys in Arizona.
All right, man. We'll see it.
All right, later.
Thanks, bye.